instrument?
Well, I can't really remember the first time I picked one up. My dad had guitars around, and at one point there was a beginner guitar kit in the house and came with DVDs, and it just never really stuck, or there wasn't really anyone in front of me that was really actively teaching me stuff, so it never really stuck. I was definitely into the Guitar Hero and Rock Band side of things as a kid. And I think there's a lot of people my age that grew up with that or School of Rock. Like, that just blew my mind. That didn't make me want to be a musician, but it just, the characters and the fact that kids were going to punk shows was that always kind of, that energy kind of always stuck there too. But I think like most kids, I started doing band in middle school, and I was in percussion at Unity Point, and from there it kind of just stumbled into picking up a guitar at one point and trying to learn a song, and from there it kind of just.
Do you remember the first song?
Yeah, it was Nick Cave, "Oh Children." I think that's what it was. It was started with an E minor, and that was only 2 fingers, so that was easy. Then it went to a C minor, that was 3, A minor, 3 again, and I think everything in there was like open chord kind of thing, so it was easy to play a super emotional song on an unplugged Stratocaster in the basement. And yeah, that's from there it's just like writing down notes for like every chord to every song, every tuning, every guitar magazine. And up until that point, I wanted to make movies. Like almost my entire life, I wanted to do special effects for movies. Yeah, like action movies. Like I was making props for zombie films or Twister. Like I cannot go without any interview without saying like how much Twister impacted my view of life. Yeah. So Twister was
unrealistically or realistically?
Both. Absolutely both. Yeah. It's surprised like how much that is the video effects world is like that. Twister was so cool. I wanted to make Twister. I wanted to make Anaconda, and watching horror movies when I was a little too young, that making content was making a cool thing that I could show other people, a production, the act of hitting record, making haunted houses and stuff like that. Like that was very hands-on until the guitar came, and I was like, from there on out, 8th grade on, I was like, everything before this it's going away. Kind of, still hold a camera every once in a while, but like for the most part, after guitar came, like pretty early on, I joined a group called Mr. Swamp Fox that has some Carbondalians and some folks from Heron in it, and
that's so who all was in Swamp Fox?
That
like,
was
I remember the name of that band
Nathan and Brandon Gill, and then there was Wade Keel and Tyler Cornelius, and man, we just hit it off. I think we were like 12 or 13 or so. Like we all clicked, like Jack White, Black Keys, that genre of music. We ate that stuff up, and I did played with them for a year or so, and then we all kind of reached high school and split off from there. And yeah, so Mr. Swamp Fox was like the first band. I found the set list for that the other day, because I recently found. I really don't throw away set lists, but I'm moving, so I kind of have to downsize. But I did find
a folder. Come on now, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I still have some of them, but I did find that first set list, and it was my first gig was at Russell Hill.
Nice.
So it was like Tom Petty, Jimi Hendrix, rock tunes. It was fun. It was cool. I wore a fedora then. Not doing that.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Man, some people grow out of fedoras and some people don't, and that's okay.
That's where you cut in, right? That's where we start. That's where we start the transition.
That's where we'll go for the intro for episode 77 of the WTF Carbondale podcast, where it's not Twister and it's not Anaconda, but we are talking interesting people about their interesting lives and tying it all back to this little place we call home, Carbondale, Illinois, where Dakota Holden, our guest here, will not be calling it home for much longer. Or, I mean, it'll always be home.
It'll always be home, but you know.
But you're
big moves.
Spreading your wings and flying all the way to a place where people like to take pictures in front of wings and pretend like they're flying. I don't know, the
not done that. It would be kind of fun to do it ironically at this point.
There
but
you go.
No, people can have their fun. I'm not ever gonna shame. Well, there's a little old man in me. It's like, what's the point?
He's just grumpy and shaking his fists at the world.
Yeah, I play steel guitar. Of course, I'm
loan.
grumpy and my bones ache from carrying the thing around.
That thing is the weight of the world, my friend.
Yeah, those things can get real heavy, and there's a lot of toys that go along with it, like the chair, the amp. I'm generally also playing a guitar at the same time. There's just the pedal steel comes with a lot of things to think about. It's funny the guitar world. There's just so many guitar players out in the world, and not all the voices can be heard, which is, could be viewed as a good thing. And it's just a lot of opinions about a lot of different things. And then the steel guitar world, it's the same thing, but it's so condensed that you generally, for the most part, you hear everyone's voice. Yeah. And so there's the steel guitar forum where, a good chunk of them communicate. You can go back to like the 90s and see people feuding about PV amplifiers and like having at it, cutthroat.
Is it the same feuds that are still happening today?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
What is that? What is like the modern world of steel pedal players look like? I mean, what's it look like for folks that are in your generation of players right now? I mean, is there your generation of players that exists right now, I guess is another question.
I think that, I mean, it's not as, I can't say it's a dying art form. There's less people that do it, but there's plenty of young players that are killing it. I think that people are, I think more than ever, people are using it for things that aren't country music because it just has so much harmonic richness to it, and I'm happy that it's being used on pop records and being used in like Wolfpack or ambient based new age music, or it can be used in so many different ways. Even earlier today I did a session for a dude in Australia that just makes little ambient lo-fi kind of droney music, and he just wanted that touch of flavor to it, and it's cool. That's where I do a lot of my playing, isn't just in my bedroom because everything's so remote now.
I mean, it's just there, plug in and go.
Yeah, it's about half of the work. I would say maybe a little less than half. It's not in the U.S.
Yeah,
like I'm working with a dude in India right now, and did a track for someone a pop track in the Netherlands or
How do you
Spain.
find or get found by these folks? Like,
I'm a part of like a bunch of different generic musician listing kind of things, but some of it's like social media, like my website and things, and emails.
Plug it. Plug the website, Dakota.
DakotaHolden.com. Yeah, no funny business, no nonsense.
That's right.
No knuckleheads. It's just
not the real Dakota Holden.
No, I haven't found anyone to clash the name yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. Anytime I do get served like another Nathan Colombo somewhere, I'm just like, There's like 7 other people in the world with this name. What?
I was like, nope, that's not the real one. Real one's right there.
Yeah, because he bought the website.
He bought the website, yeah.
And if you spell your name with a U, he bought that one too. So
yeah,
there's
it was kind of funny just the idea of just buying a bunch of super specific
Dakota Holden websites,
or just any just like weird. Who knows? Just buy as many URLs as possible and then sell them for mass profit.
Yeah, that's at some point in time you're going to buy just the right URL.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the alphabet and just go a.com and then b.com and just go up the list and buy it. Sell it for millions.
But I mean that's a real thing that happened right around the time that you were alive and that I was a child. Like, that people were just, and still to this day make stupid money just by having URLs.
Yeah, it's probably more steady than being a musician. Probably make more money doing that.
What have you done work-wise outside of tech and being a musician and whatnot? Is there any other like professional line?
I've done a bunch of odd things in Carbondale, but most of it I've been lucky to do most of my work in the field.
Yeah.
Not Subway. That was there was a lot of grueling summers working at Subway. But,
the grueling summers over the...
Yeah, I actually did... Well, I can't even say that's unrelated because I did a project for Jenny Pape's class and like a radio class of some sort. And I did all these short stories of working at Subway, but I edited them in a way where it sounded like war logs. Like there's still like bombs and like CCR in the background. And I just told a bunch of tales of like tuna and like mayonnaise and like
burnt subs.
Yeah. I still like Jenny and I made a record with a bunch of our friends and I still think that the Subway thing is still my biggest piece of art to her.
What's your relationship with Jenny been like?
Well, I met her my freshman year at SIU. It was
so 3 years ago. Go on. No, I'm just
so
kidding.
It was what 4, 5.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I come on my own podcast to feel old. Sometimes I come on my own podcast to feel young.
Do I really need to say like
No,
I started playing drums in 2000 and whatever in middle school because that sometimes weirds people out.
I was doing like the paw print painting whatever on Sunday, and when it was all said and done, like George Sheffer asked one of the girls a question related to like a birthday or 9/11 or one of the two, and it, like the two crossed paths, and she was like, I was born after 9/11, and it was like, oh, that's where we're at now in terms of the timeline of people who exist in memories that occur.
Just because we're getting weird with this, I saw something that was children or people are now having babies whose parents have not lived while Shrek was released.
Yeah, I saw that meme earlier today as well.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You're in the ballpark. That's a meme that's been in circulation recently.
Also, that's something says something about our minds because that content sticks with us
because the years stop coming
and they don't stop coming.
That's.
I knew there would be some Shrek references when I came here today.
I wasn't prepared.
I didn't know
it
would be.
I'm on board that this is it. Thank you for being, I think, possibly just the first set of Shrek references on the WTF Carbondale podcast, Dakota. I think that's an
let's hope I'm the last
milestone that we've hit here today.
Yeah.
Bless you, my friend.
Yeah. So what besides the Shrek stuff, what was I originally into?
Ginny. We were talking about you meeting Ginny all of a year and a half ago. And
Yeah. No, I met Jenny.
the timeline is just going to get shorter until we get up to, oh, cool.
When we met an hour ago.
And I'm already leaving.
Yeah. Jenny, I was doing I was my freshman year, so I couldn't do any of the audio classes because there's just a bunch of prerequisites for what you're doing. But I knew Todd, who was teaching there at the time, Todd Harriman, and was super kind and generous with his time because he knew I was eager. So he called me in to help run a faux kind of session thing for a producing class, and it was we were re-recording Hall & Oates, I Can't Go For That.
Okay.
And I was playing guitar, but Jenny was singing, and I met her that day. And I knew about her because she's just, hailed by Southern Illinois, and properly so. But that's when I first met her, and it was just absolutely hilarious. Her in the vocal booth, and my buddy Benji and I just like dancing and playing guitar. So that's yeah. And then from there, we were constantly around each other, and I opened up for a couple times with my rockabilly group.
What was your rockabilly group?
That was one of two, the Holden Quartet.
Yeah, I remember Holden Quartet.
Yeah, we released our album just right up there a couple years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was the kind of one of those groups where I was, in charge of things, probably one of two, but.
Oh, because your name was at the front?
Yeah. It's only up front because it had to be. It was like there were so many. It's at some point we're just going to call it the laziest thing that it could be, and that's my name and as many members as there were at the time. So yeah, Jenny was, friend, professor, bandmate, all those things, and I think we did a pretty good job of keeping those things in their lanes and not cracking band jokes in the middle of audio class or whatever.
Well, I think that shows a pretty significant amount of consummate respect, right? And that mindset and that type of interaction and the differentiation between what is work, what is play, what is education, that is going to lend itself to your credibility among your peers as you grow.
Yeah.
As you ascend to whatever, one bedroom apartment in downtown Nashville you ascend to for $3,000 a month or whatever it is. What's the are you just kind of going in blind, or have you done some pretty significant research into like where to land in Nashville as you?
There's some definitely some roads I would like to go down. I would like to be able to play Broadway, just because it's a fairly easy thing to be able to do, especially playing the instrument that I do. And I was supposed to play a couple weeks ago, but that got just pushed back because so many things going on. But I kind of have one thing lined up, and it seems like it's going to at least be able to pay the bills for a minute. And I like talking about this remote work that I started over quarantine. I mean, my quarantine was fairly productive in terms of what I was doing, and all reaching out to people reaching out to me and doing work. And
hell, this is partially your fault too.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah,
I didn't remember or have a clue how to even plug in my little audio thing to begin with. And
and here we are. It's now there's 10 different things that we can run. Yeah. So that the remote stuff carries over just fine, and that's pretty steady. There's things that I got to get to, and there's rehearsals that are needing to be had, and I'm eager to get down there and kind of pick up physically where I am virtually down there. And
you think the network will be a whole different ball game in terms of once you're on the ground, what can occur simply by virtue of operating in place?
Is there as Nashville is known for, just the best of the best and how many musicians there are. I was warned by a respectable guitar player that right now it's kind of like the Wild West, and I think he said that right now there's more work than there are musicians. So that's
more work than there is musicians.
How much of that is really true, I don't know, but
Yeah.
he's doing okay, and he's kind of been helping me kind of lock some things in, and it seems like a decent time to make the jump. I was supposed to go like a year ago.
Oh, was that the plan
That
originally?
but with the pandemic and all, around August, there was just so many different questions like what route is this thing gonna go?
Yeah.
And it wasn't positive. Didn't end up too well, and it seems right now in this date and
As good as it's gonna get, better get it while the getting's good enough.
yeah, it's that's a whole nother layer of anxiety, because I mean this whole time I've been freaked out by the whole thing. I don't want it. I don't want to get it. I didn't get it.
It sucks.
Yeah, you can attest that it's not pleasant.
We were so close.
Yeah.
1 month out from a vaccine, and I can't sit here. But work is work, right? Like, we know exactly where it came from. In terms of what my wife catching it at work, and the rest of the family
Yeah.
getting it, and all that, and the it's like there's no reason for us to be still dancing this dance.
Yeah. And I feel like if people like live music, and there's more than there's just so many people that had it worse. I have no room to complain.
Yeah.
Like I got by all right. It was it was challenging, but like I said, I had work to do. I had plenty of time to practice and kind of woodshed my playing, and
You made it all look real good, man. Like,
I didn't really show the ugly side of it all.
No. I mean, you made, like, everything that came out with your face on. I mean, I remember some of the early stuff that you did for us, right? Like, and putting that, putting that out there, home recordings and whatnot, and just kind of keeping the pace with it. And there will be kind of a division of rights down the line too, between the people who can perform across vehicles, whether to an in-person audience or a digital audience, and maintain that feel. And there will be those that are left behind because they just didn't pick that up in the midst of it. And that's almost going to be like a demand now from here on out, is you better be able to put it on live, in person and online.
I tried to, I mean, your example of, like, anyone that people were aware that I was kind of on the smarter side of, the tech required to make,
Sucker.
make things happen in a pandemic world. So I was very open and, like, trying to encourage people, like, this is the cable that you need to plug in. This is the device that you need. This is, I do this, but you can probably use an iPhone just fine.
Yeah. On behalf of all of those people, thank you. Because, I mean, seriously, if it wasn't for people like you, like Mike, like Blake, like any number of folks that have been out there and have put their hands in some sort of way on the broader array of folks out there that needed the help, like, if it wasn't for you guys and the work that y'all do, we would all been.
There would have been music. We just made it look a little bit better.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
fair. That's fair.
That's not much more than.
But a little bit better goes a long way when you really need that feeling.
Yeah, if you're looking at our faces for a year,
yeah,
it's we can at least make it high def. Yeah.
How many of the closed mic nights did you do? Did you do all of them?
No, I didn't do. Oh man, I couldn't do all of them, especially since I I decided, like, a couple years ago, maybe 3, like right after we released that Holden Quartet thing up there, I was like, frontman, not my thing, don't care for it.
Yeah.
I really don't ever want to sing as like
You
a
just wanna help be the
professional
guy
thing.
that adds that last bit of polish.
I like
to
being
something.
I like being in the band.
Yeah.
Like I like being in the background. I'll sing harmonies or whatever, but I don't like being up front. So I only had, 10 songs that I could power through to make videos, and the only reason I wouldn't have done them if it wasn't for
people hounding you about
no
it, being like,
for,
hey,
for a
man,
general
please
good
help.
for a good cause. Like
Yeah.
started with Trace, and it went to PKs, and it started going to food pantries, varsity, all these different things. And I'm a musician, and I could help someone make the decision to donate just by singing a 2-minute song. It's really hard for me to say no to that.
Yeah.
The cooler aspect of it was being able to play steel along with other folks and like crop videos together, make a band that never would have happened.
Yeah.
So there's these hybrid bands of like, Whistle Pigs or like the Giant City Slickers with, just all these combinations of people, horns players, background vocalists that just would have not been a thing in person if it's a thing in a video, and it's going to continually help people over the pandemic. So that was where I thought that the coolest side of it was. And, there's an excitement to see what combinations, or I knew that Nate was working on something really cool with Josh Morrison or something. And I was excited to see things every Tuesday. And, the algorithm kind of fought us near the end just because things open up, things shut down. Our page got too many likes,
Well, I know you guys at some point in time it was there, the number of shares of videos in rapid succession along the hashtag as well got you guys like flagged as spam at some point.
I thought at one point the page was shut down because they thought we were robots.
I mean,
I think
when you and what I figured this, or I had a similar experience some point in time at it was all of the live videos of George Floyd protests that were being shared to the WTF Carbondale group, and because of these videos and their similarity to other types of rallies that Facebook was flagging at the time, it flagged the group as if it was disseminating misinformation and doing some other things. So like
just because it's popping.
Yeah, and I don't know what exactly what you guys went through. But I mean, there's different levels of this stuff, but it's all happening.
Yeah,
even though it's like real people on the back end of it.
It's like it's weird how certain things work on, because I know my stuff about kind of tech for them, a little bit, but like as far as social media goes, like I'm just generally out of the loop. But it's hard for me to understand like it's a group that's doing good, and why can't the algorithm like not can we please not have this slow down because it's doing good. It's like CPR videos on YouTube will have an advertisement in front of it, and that seems really messed up to me. Like the same kind of twisted.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
the next Black Mirror episode.
I was unprepared for this level of revelation.
Yeah.
During this conversation, Dakota.
Watch them now. If you're putting off watching that, watch them now.
Watch it now before it's too late.
Before you have to watch, another
15 seconds
30
the
seconds
dechoker
of Wix.com. Yeah.
Order the dechoker.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Here's a 30-second ad in front of this 2-minute video to show you how to perform CPR.
Yeah, Grammarly, this cute advertisement with bright colors and ukuleles. I'm trying to save someone.
You got a particular special kind of cynicism
Do I?
on the back end. I don't know. I'm trying to track that down, where that comes from the the old school, like, seeing the world through kind of a performative lens, because you've got this movie interest background.
That's the Twister talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, no. Well, we were talking. Go ahead. Sorry.
Where were we?
We're wherever we want to be,
Yeah.
man. That's the podcast. That's what this is. Sometimes it's like
It's no longer chronological. We know that.
No. We've thrown a stick of dynamite into it with the fuse, and it's done.
Yeah.
Gone off. But no, you were talking about kind of being plugged into some of the lourish bands of Carbondale from the late 90s and mid 2000s and all that, and
yeah,
we just talked a little bit about that having an influence on you, just being able to play with that caliber of folks, and just being exposed to the stories of what brought everybody to the table with their instruments.
Yeah, I joined the People versus Hugh 2017, something like that. So, it's still not
when you were like 17.
Yeah, I was 4.
Thanks for playing along.
Yeah.
I appreciate you not being like, shut up, Nathan.
No, and that was my first link to a very Carbondale band, very Southern Illinois band with, obviously bands prior and bands before those bands. And that was my first kind of surrounding where there was plenty of stories and tales and connections of links to people, where I'm kind of like making mental notes of like, this guy was with them, but like there's some beef over here, or there's this weird story from this venue. Yeah. I mean, nothing too harsh, but that's
not everybody's gonna get along all the time, and that just is what it is.
Yeah, it's more of the humorous tales that stick around you. But there was definitely this feeling that there was a lot of cool things that happened, and I don't know if it was necessarily not there. I guess what I don't ever hear from the musicians' side is that Carbondale used to be thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't hear that from people that are obviously out making stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's still happening. I get sick and tired of people telling me, well, it's not like the old days because that was cooler and that was better. Man, that pisses me off.
That's right. Let that grumpy old man out, Dakota.
Yeah. It's like, I'm obviously here going to school to do cool things.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a cool thing right now with awesome people that have let me join their band.
Yeah.
And you're some random guy that is trying to explain to me that it's
different.
It's dead.
It's just
it's
different.
not true. Yeah.
I was talking to Unri on the last podcast, and we're talking about shooting a video for Cortland in here. But I mean, it's all over the place, right? Like the difference now is like the type of experience that can be had around performance, and utilizing a space as just a fluid performance space that, the sidewalk is just as much a stage as the band shell.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sorry that it's not 8 different bands at 8 different bars and people flooding the streets and this, that, the other, right? But that doesn't mean that the work that artists are putting in and the quality of work and like the scene, man, like, guess what? It's fine.
I really don't care that you were high off your ass in the 80s and that band was cool then and it's not what it is now.
Yeah.
I've always respect the music that happened, but you always, if you're complaining, you're just not making the right moves or going to the right places, because there's plenty of music that's happening, and
And it's fine. And it's fine to acknowledge that it's not at the same volume
No.
that it once was. Because that's a fair critique. Hey, there aren't as many people doing as as wide a variety of things. That's fine. We can say there are fewer people in place.
No, yeah.
But that doesn't say, oh, this diminishes the quality, because the quality of what still stands is impeccable.
Exactly. You could say that more people are able to listen, even, that's,
well, like I was
and now,
talking about-
that's the thing about like joining all these bands is that they never really had that. No one that I play music with has that attitude, and I'm thankful for that. And because if they did, they just wouldn't get those gigs anymore. The Hugh band was really cool and eye-opening because this is the first thing that I was really nervous for, because to me the learning a Woodbox Gang song is like kind of sacred in a way, where it's like I don't know if I could do it like they do it, and or that's a dope, or I play a pedal steel. I hope everyone's okay with that. And of course everyone was just happy that there was a layer there that was interesting. And as rough as I was at the beginning, the amount of people understanding and accepting the position that I was, that this was a large mountain to climb. They were all in and all supportive of me bringing out the steel way too early. I should the rule, the year changes, but the rule is it takes 5 years to suck at the pedal steel. So I can't wait till I suck at it.
How many more years do you have to go again? Say that one more time. Or had you said
I have been playing pedal steel for like 4 years now. I think 4.
So you started when you were like 8.5.
8.5 and 9.
God, I'm just gonna keep beating this awful joke into the ground until the end of this podcast.
Yeah. I'm 50 now, so
do the math.
No, I've been at it for 4 years, and I believe I've owned it longer than that, but I've only been digging into it for 4 years. And I had a good teacher, Danny Weaver, and he's in Cobden, has some stories. He has a legendary pedal steel, and that's the one that I kind of that's the first time hearing pedal steel out of an amplifier, and was him, and he's just shown me so much over the the course of this whole time. And
what makes his pedal steel legendary?
He
what's the thing?
has a pedal steel that was once owned by Ralph Mooney, who's a pedal steel legend, a songwriting legend. Who's the one that wrote Crazy Arms for Ray Price. Not for Ray Price, but Ray Price made a cut of it. And then he went on to play pedal steel for Waylon Jennings. And
nice.
So his pedal steel is the one that has like the Rainy Day Women recording on it. I know that's for sure. I know that's the one that was on that record. But yeah, very legendary instrument, and it's a showbud into 2 big PV amplifiers, and that's the sound of steel guitar to me, is Danny. And what a good example to have,
Or to argue about on a forum.
Yeah. Well, that PV on the left doesn't have the special chip that makes it sound warmer, and the right one, it's a lot.
This is why I can't do music stuff. Like, the amount of attention that goes into understanding. I've never been a capable. I couldn't read it. I couldn't write it. I could barely hear it. Could never play it. Like.
And then there's all these layers of like the communication of like what this pedal does something special that this other pedal doesn't do.
Yeah.
And I'm still guilty of that because it's fun. It's fun. I like sharing ideas with people and not like other people throwing down gear because it's cheap or whatever. But like, gear is its own industry. Almost gear is a separate industry than the music industry.
Really?
I don't know. There's so many companies, Sweetwater, Guitar Center, musicians, whatever.
They're just constantly making stuff that just looks to modulate or modify or whatever
The next
sound, just exploring for whatever a new sound is.
Whatever's in the guitar magazine, that's the game changer. And then it's the next magazine. That's a game changer. This company has made, this pedal that's $1,000, but man, it just has that bite to it. All the acronyms and the analogies and it's Clon Centaur and all these legendary old pedals that people are bickering about.
It plays just the same into this guitar has that sound or this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know music. I tell you what I'm getting at.
The mojo and the I was really into that stuff when I was younger because it like guitar, amps, gear. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun way to dig yourself into a hole. But I got over it for a while. And then I'm like into it. I was really into it. Like in the beginning of Quarantine Kids, it gave me something to do. But I think that the one thing that I really like in terms of like belief and like mojo on stuff is people around here and their instruments and why they like their thing and sharing why they like, there's Kelly Sims who passed away. His D18 is just the best guitar that there ever is. It's I think it's like a 64 something or other, the 64 D18 Martin, and it plays so good, and you can look at all the different things on it and wonder how it got the way that it is. Or my biggest guitar hero is Andrew Staff, because
dude,
yeah.
So I grew up like there's the Staffs have one neighbor on that road, and that was me.
Yeah.
So I've grown up knowing the whole Stafferino.
Yeah, Andrew's just an absolute beast, and that Jazzmaster is like the perfect sounding electric guitar, because that's Swamp Tiger's my favorite band all time. I can comfortably say that, but that Jazzmaster plugged into like a overdrive and a slapback into Fender, whatever. It's just that's the sound that I grew up right in that prime time of like learning that Nick Cave song and stuff and watching him play. And even though it's, he's doing all the work, that guitar is so legendary to me.
But what I never quite comprehended is like, if there's a particular gear that has, this, that, the other attribute, is that not replicable? Like,
sure. Yeah, I mean, you can, they have lasers and stuff that can scan every bit of everything. Could be used to repair something. It could be used to replicate something. But the fact is that, that's Robbie's Stratocaster. That is his instrument. That's what he's shredding on, and that's why it's cool. It's because it's his. I'm not a photographer, and I'm really not a video dude at any point, but I really like the idea of like doing some sort of photo work here with people with their associated instrument.
Yeah.
Like it just Carbondale or Southern Illinois folks. I thought that'd be really cool to, if you're out there, do it.
Somebody.
Yeah. What
anybody.
Bring whatever you feel is a extension of your brain. Whatever notes you feel like your brain makes, bring that instrument that does that for you.
That was a really good use of the breakaway to the camera. I want to applaud you for that.
Oh,
that high quality
right
breakaway.
There, right into the people's eyes.
it's I always appreciate a good and it's fun. Some of these conversations I've had, I've teed somebody up ahead of time and like, all right, we're having the news conversation where we're looking past the cameras at each other, but if you have to say something serious, do the breakaway to the camera, and
Yeah.
We didn't have that conversation.
No.
It was just meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're a Carbondale kid through and through too.
Yeah. I was born in Carbondale. I lived in Anna when I was super young, but just kind of moved right back up here. Unity Point, CCHS, SIU.
The Carbondale Shuffle.
Yeah.
Good, man.
No, the Carbondale, man, I couldn't be any luckier to grow up here. It just had all the right components to excite me this entire time.
Yeah. And it's whether you're somebody that's from here or you're somebody that's just like growing up here, right? People that are here for a short period of time, 2-3 years even, right? They come in sophomore year, their parents are here for whatever, they hit senior year, they're out of here after that, right? There's a chunk of this place that goes with them just the same as the folks like you and me that are, just a break off of the rocks that were already here.
And I will say that most of the people that grew up here before college, that you kind of stayed here, I think that I tried to show a lot of people my age, like, if you want to see something real cool, like, let's head over here right now, because you're going to see something. You're going to see Tall Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's the shit. And you better burn this into your brain, because this is like as Carbondale as it gets.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us that were here and SIU people, and we were constantly trying to bring people to super rare events or meet people that probably would have not been on the radar if you were just campus, SIU housing. And
I go to Walmart and I go back to my dorm.
Yeah.
Or,
there's a lot of folks did the college club thing, which is fine. It wasn't my thing, obviously, because I would much rather go to a place with instruments or live music. But that's all it takes is a little bit of a nudge to show someone something cool. And that
was there any real active music RSOs on campus or anything?
There's some. Oh. I was
mostly dubstep. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's a group called Musicians United that is. I was never a part of it, but I was always kind of working around them. There's a group of people that swap members or form different combinations of bands to play or learn 3 songs and then play them at Hangar, and that's cool. I was a part of a group called Digidog, which
yeah.
And all the titles were kind of messed up, but I was president for 2 years, and we did, rather than putting out records or make singles for folks, we kind of just took on bigger projects. And
what was your favorite project over the past several years that from a not from a band project standpoint, but
I've got to answer.
Okay, cool.
The fall semester of my senior year at SIU, I turned mass comm into a guided audio tour. It was called Rachel, and the reason why the name was is that was just the name of the robot voice that guided you. And we couldn't think of anything better because it's not guided audio walk, just didn't ring too well.
Yeah.
But it was a project assigned by Jenny Pape, and it was make a sound walk, which is, put in your earbuds, there's sound that go with your space, and it's kind of an interaction of the two. It was a group of 20 people in a class. I was like, how can that be intimate or, like cool on a level where you're still surrounded like your buddy from over here. So I wanted to split them up. So I was like, what if I make 3? I'm always trying to do way more than what's required because I think projects are fun. It's like, well, what if those 3 groups started? What if it was all connected? Mm-hmm. What if they started hunting each other? So I made this advanced, like, I made a plot of a map and made these dots, kind of animated these dots in a way where one would chase each other and one would like hide from the other in a certain way. And it's all instructions. So I made this synchronized audio walk thing where you were a part of a test. And in order to pass a test, you must hunt down one group, but there's another group hunting you in this process. So I made
But all you're doing is following the audio instructions?
Exactly. So
what, like, is that not a predetermined like destination then?
I was a story that I wrote out.
Okay.
So I took my phone and I did a single walk through Masscom, and I was able to see the path that I just took. Mm-hmm. And then I would walk a different one and record that too. And so I'd have 2 phones kind of watching what the previous group did and what the next group is doing. Then you combine them together and you can do it one last time. And they have this thing where I can see all 3 of the videos at the same time and type out these instructions through this automated voice, Rachel, and pinpoint, you must pass this pipe on the right in 3, 2, 1. So it kept their pace. Mm-hmm. And it was just a fun, insane project that I spent way too many hours on. I slept in Masscom for it was 18 hours in one day. Like, just mad scientist staring at a screen red-eyed. But it was just so much fun to put together, and Jenny reminded me to eat and sleep.
Are you talking about like from concept to finished product?
No. Okay. I mean, I don't want to figure out the amount of hours that I put into, but at a certain point, it's like I have to sleep for at least 2 days before I can go back in there. But I would walk around, even before the process really started to define itself, I would walk around and play horror soundtracks, like not the cute dee-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo-dee-doo kind of 80s
Buddy,
ones.
there's no cute horror sounds in my book.
The classic theme song kind of stuff, like The Exorcist or whatever.
Yeah. Still terrifying.
Twister, Anaconda. No.
No, there's a callback.
Yeah.
That was good.
I would play like real eerie, droney things that had random hits in it in the basement at like 2 a.m. and just get a feel for like what things kind of hit me, like what stood out. And there's at one point where I was walking in the basement, super low lights, and I feel like there's someone following me. And then the music hit, and I was like, oh, Jesus, that's frightening. And I turned around just to see what it would be like in the example, and there's a janitor right behind me. I was like, nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the feeling that I want, because if you're going through this walk and you're told in the ears, don't look behind you, there's a group. Some people follow the instructions like, okay, I won't look behind. But if you were to look behind you, there would be someone walking right behind you, ready to, do what they're assigned to, and that's to hunt you down. So that was my biggest non-musical project that I did at Masscom. I'm super proud of it. There's a YouTube video on my channel where I explain how it works, and there's video clips of people doing it, and the event that we had is...
how many subscribers do you have on your YouTube channel? I just want to determine how...
Not a whole lot. The biggest hit is me playing a steel guitar or demoing an amplifier or something.
Dude, it's crazy how difficult it is to get people to subscribe to a YouTube channel.
It's so easy. It's so easy to... You want to see more stuff, just hit that red button and ding the bell for notifications. Yeah.
Smash that like and subscribe button,
yeah,
fam.
smash.
I don't even bother to ask. I'm just like, if if the content's going to stand on its own, it's going to stand on its own. It wasn't until like, I don't know, maybe episode like in the 70s, like maybe 71, 72, that I was like, I'll finally start putting links to, okay, here's the one line description of the podcast. Here's the link to the, audio versions. Here's the link to the YouTube. Like, I'm not even going like that far out of my way to say it. I'm just like, here's the easy to share YouTube versions. Here's the audio versions after this premiere, if that's what you want. Other than that, I don't know.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. We were talking about the right tone of voice for media that's just getting a start.
Yeah.
Like any base project, a lot of people think super way too big.
Yeah. As soon as I start, it's got to be massive. Like there's no. Yeah. Dude, it takes. You just have to.
Yeah. If you did, I mean, it's never gonna hurt if you have the links and things. But if your voice isn't talking to Carbondale people or Southern Illinois people,
yeah,
you're gonna say the wrong thing. Like we're clearly talking with people from this area.
Yeah.
If we use language that or links or try and show things in a global scale, it just won't hit right, because that's not what's there. There's so many projects that I've started at SIU or help guide people where as soon as they want to make a podcast or something, you immediately have to dial it back and think micro, just think of it in super small scale, because that's the people that will actually listen and interact with it. Because your Instagram page doesn't mean that just because you have an Instagram doesn't mean that it's going to be,
oh my gosh, I've got a podcast.
It's not going to blow up.
Just because I have 10,000 followers on Instagram doesn't translate to, hell, it doesn't translate to 100 listens on a podcast.
Yeah, or if you're streaming if you're streaming music or streaming a game or whatever, and you're talking to some
to the audience that's in front of you. Talk to the audience.
It's your buds. It's people that want to support you. Talk to them like you would if they came out to a show.
Yeah, thank you for that. I needed that idea. I mean,
I don't think you've fallen for that, but
I know
it's just general good advice.
But it helps to know what the work is behind the answer.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is 77 episodes in now, on top of 5 years of just the broader social media platform, leading into a website launch and some other things that build out the entirety of the brand. And it's like understanding that, well, what is the core component of this? The core thing that makes this valuable is I don't want to speak to anybody that's not already the predetermined audience, right? And at some point in time, if the audience is going to grow to people who aren't the predetermined audience, then it's going to be the outside audience gravitating towards what's created in the bubble, not trying to create something physically within the bubble, but that's supposed to purposely reach outside of that. It's like, no, create the activity internally, and then if people want a glimpse of it from the outside in, if it's good, they just will. No,
do whatever you're making as long as it's genuine and you're sharing it in a genuine way, people will like it. If it's bad, people won't. But if you really feel like you have something cool to share, if you share it honestly, then you can't immediately release an album and say worldwide debut kind of, because that's not the folks that are wanting to buy it. It always helps when you can promote it in ways that's efficient and can probably get more likes and follows, but it's
like, who do you really want to enrich with this? Like, do you just want to pick up one random person in somewhere in Canada that will not have anybody around them that they can really share this with in a way where there's this earnest connection? Or do you want this to grow within a tighter knit group of people in a particular physical space. In our case, Southern Illinois.
Yeah, we were talking about, I was asking about like how the YouTube page is going, and it's, smallish numbers, but if you think about like that's 15 people watching videos.
Are 15 real people.
Yeah, those are people that care and want to tune in. Like those are the most important 15 people that you could have.
Well, that's what I always looked at any of these streaming shows, right? That it was like, if there was a number, okay, cool, we got 60 people, that viewed the YouTube, and a couple hundred that viewed the Facebook video over the course of time. It's like, that's, of those several hundred views, there are probably a good 70 to 100 earnest, like real bought-in views in the midst of that, which is translating to a physical show, a heck of a crowd.
Yeah, there's, we did the People versus Hugh did a thing here over the.
Or the general amalgamation of People versus Hugh to Neil.
Yeah, some People versus Hugh to Neil, and there was I don't really remember the numbers that we had, but I was thinking about like that. It's out. That many people can't fit in PKs.
Yeah. I mean, like a full. Yeah. Yep. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think that. I wouldn't want the world to ever be the way that it just was, but there's certain things where people were still able to see each other in a digital form. There was music and evaluation of people hearing themselves in a way that made everyone self-produce themselves, and which was always going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
I feel like this area took advantage of the opportunity,
and I'm sure there are plenty of places that did not. And something that will continue to set us apart is that we acted on it.
Yeah,
there was just dozens and dozens of people that acted on it.
Yeah,
right. It didn't just sit around and go, "Oh, woe is me. What do I do?" Right, and then that. And how it kind of spread out into a broader network of folks that everybody in Southern Illinois is plugged into beyond just our own immediate backyards here. And people kind of gravitated towards it and played along. And
it's like we're raising money for Cristados because they're helping feeding people.
Yep.
You guys want to record a song? And most of the time people say, yeah, because
Absolutely.
What else are we gonna do? Everyone got to hear themselves. Everyone got to give their own critiques to themselves, and kind of everyone was a producer in quarantine. Everyone that was at least music or art could record themselves and see, oh, that's what I look like, that's what I sound like. Maybe let's do it again.
Right.
Rather than keep that first take.
Yeah.
It was good.
I'll tell you what, man. I think we're going to keep this first take for episode 77 of the WTF Carbondale podcast. Dakota Holden, his send-off to... No, you know what? No. That was a good breakaway. But your party Sunday night across the board, did you have fun?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, we didn't even get a taste. Yeah, yeah. Sunday.
How was your Sunday?
It was kind of iffy at first just because of the weather, but all we had to do is delay it about 15 minutes or so, and from there, Magnetones, the People versus Hugh to Neil, and Miss Jenny and the Howdy Boys, we all played a set. It was great. It was packed. So many people were so generous, and I couldn't thank them enough for all that they've given, because I couldn't do what I do if they weren't there.
Yeah.
So all the I could recognize almost all those people and have a connection with them. Or
just looking at the camera,
like I was like,
we
played a pick and party 3 years ago, and I could not appreciate it anymore because all those folks were supportive. It was big great party. There was cutouts of myself, and it's funny. I talked with a couple of people about it. Everyone was taking more pictures with the cutout than with me. Because
it's kind of nice though.
I'm not complaining. Yeah, I knew I'd be like tuning or like setting up a pedal steel or breaking down a guitar or something. But at least there's that guy who's standing there next to the cupcakes and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a great time. Trace was super cool. They squeezed as many people as they could outside, and we wanted a safe event where we could be outdoors and still party and enjoy ourselves. And I'm glad we fit it in. And tonight is my last open mic Tuesday for a good while. So we'll see how tonight goes.
And that's where we can do the breakaway.
Yeah.
We fit it in episode 77 of the WTF Carbondale podcast. Have a good one, folks. Whatever that one may be.